Hello everyone, I'm Justice Graves, and as you know, I'm running to be a member of the school committee here for the Narragansett Regional School District here in Templeton and Phillipston, Massachusetts. And today's video is going to be a direct message to Ms. Bobbie French, who is currently running to be on the school committee on the Phillipston seat, for the open Phillipston seat. And so, here's the thing. A few days ago, when she had made her announcement during the week, I had asked some pretty pointed questions, very specific questions, that I wanted answers to. You know, whether or not she would answer them right then or she would answer them later. I'd hope she would indicate that. And so here are the 5 questions that I had proposed. Such as 1, what are your experiences in public office? For example, I was on Capital Planning Committee for a few months before I resigned so that I could run, because I wanted to be more open and be able to communicate more for school committee when I was running for school committee. I have been in student government. I was a student senator at UMass Lowell for 1 semester. And I also was the president of a National Honor Society for a year. I was a subcommittee on that for a semester. And I've also been an appointed secretary and a vice president for a 501c3 that is based in Gardner. So that's my public experience. I'm wondering what hers is. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she's just been a school's principal. Maybe she's just been, an administrator. That's important, but I would like to know what her experiences are, just in terms of legislation and in terms of executive. Question number 2. What have you enjoyed teaching most in your 30-year teaching career? She talks about how she's been in teaching for 30 years. I'd like to know, what is basically your favorite lesson? Is it, tectonic plates that you've ever done? Is it one about measurement? Is it one about, shapes, geometry? Is it one about the tides, the cycles of the moon, the phases of the moon? What is it? Anything to do with astronomy? I don't know what her specialty is. I don't know what she went to college for. I don't know none of that. I don't know what she taught when she was teaching. So I think this is an important question because it, shows a little bit more about herself. 3, would you support and advocate for expanding Title I services? And a reminder that Narragansett is a Title I wide district. And also expanding ELL and ELS programs. For those of you who don't know, ELL means English language learners, and ESL means English as a second language. So expanding services for those in the state, which would also, of course, help us being an advocate for that. I plan on doing videos about that. So I'd wonder if that is something that we could agree upon. Question number 4, what is your opinion of critical race theory? I've done several videos on it. I do not like it. I think it is a very abusive subject. I think it is a very abusive tactic, and it's modern white supremacy. I've said it in my videos. And here's my 5th question, the final one. Have you ever read White Fragility by Dr. Robin DiAngelo? Do you agree with Dr. DiAngelo on the premise of her work? Because Dr. DiAngelo has also written other literature when it comes to whiteness and whiteness studies that she builds off of in White Fragility. Whether she cites it or not, she's building on that subject that she is an expert in. And so I did get a response back, but not the response that said, well, I'll respond more later. More of a very baseline answer, such as that she believes in equity, diversity, and innovation, which is confusing because that doesn't tell me anything. Because here's the deal. What type of equity is she talking about? Is she talking about legal equity? Is she talking about the new definition of equity, which those are not the same thing? Is she talking about fairness, or is she talking about equality? Because all 4 of those things can get messed up. All of those can be very easily confusing for anybody, unless you're looking at that subject very intensely. She also talks about how she believes COVID has given us many opportunities in education, that we should take advantage of all of them. And that's great, but I feel like the COVID advantages we've gotten are the baseline, because the state hasn't actually improved anything. The state hasn't actually improved its own regulatory processes or its own different formulas for allocation, and that's actually going to hurt us in fiscal year 23. The state does have to do some reforms, and so I think it's really important that we bring that up. And also the fact that if it takes a pandemic for us to actually get money for things such as web services or to have access to learning programs so that students can learn online, I think that's pretty baseline. And I don't think I would like to be an advocate or a critic of the state in saying, I don't think that's good enough. I think that's, that's so low bar that that's not funny. What I think is most concerning is the fact that she says that she's wed white fragility, and that she agrees with a lot of the conversations in it about systemic racism in this country. Now, here's the deal. She never talks about Dr. Robin DiAngelo, who is the author of that book. And I have talked about Robin DiAngelo in a Medium article that I wrote, Civics Corrupted, which I'm going to put in the description. I'm going to link that article in the description that you can read, that article, that letter to the Department of Education that I wrote, that, maybe you've already seen it if you're in the town, because I know some people found that to be quote-unquote controversial. I don't understand how anything that normalizes abuse, especially the text of white fragility, is controversial. And what I don't understand, I really don't understand, is why it is difficult for people to say that normalizing abuse is bad, and I've already said that, but why is it so difficult for people to understand that Dr. DiAngelo is an avowed racist? The author of the book, White Fragility, she talks about how she is a racist constantly in the book. Almost every chapter, she has a problem with seeing black people on the street. She has a problem with her black colleagues. She talks about it. She has a problem with she is afraid of them if they're in a park. She's afraid of black people in a park. And that's Robin DiAngelo's problem. Okay, Robin DiAngelo is clearly a racist. But why are we taking advice from a racist about the issue of race and about racism in America? Because I would never personally listen to a Klansman on that issue. So why? This just doesn't make any sense. And that's very indicative of the problem with white fragility as an entire book. And so I would like for her to be more forthcoming about that. And I am going to continuously ask this question, because I think that that is extremely important. Does she know that Robin DiAngelo is an avowed racist? She hasn't answered that. And I think she needs to answer that question, because I don't think anybody running for school committee should answer that they like a book from an avowed racist, and they can't answer about it very directly after they have been clarified that Robin DiAngelo is a racist. Now, I hope Bobbie reaches out, maybe sends me an email, maybe says something, maybe creates a graphic and maybe posts on each topic, each of her main topics that she wishes to talk about, and that she posts that she wishes to work on me in certain issues like I've talked about when it comes to pretty much anything, because I feel like there is room to have that conversation. But again, confused about the white fragility comment and concerned about the equity comment. What does she mean? I think that's extremely vague, and I think it is worth pointing that out. Thank you for listening to this video. I hope you have a good day. Again, my email is gravesjjh@gmail.com, gravesjjh@gmail.com. That is also in the description below. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you.